Fun Facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
Hey everybody, do you have a favorite song?
Yes, my favorite is Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Yeah, that's great. Did you know that your favorite song is most likely your favorite because you associate it with an emotional event in your life?
Wow, well, yeah, that makes sense. The first time I heard that song was when my Aunt Ruth taught me how to knit a sweater for my cat, Mr. Mittens.
Wow, that's, really something.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Mittens is my best friend. Fun Facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
Hi everyone, I have a fun math fact for you.
Right, yeah, math is about as fun as stubbing your big toe on the edge of the coffee table.
No, really, check this out. Did you know that 111,111,111 times 111,111,111 equals 12 quadrillion 345 trillion 678 billion 987 million 654,321?
If you say so, but so what?
Look closer. Read each number individually.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow! Hey, it's like magic!
See? I told you math could be fun.
Fun Facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
You ever wonder why we yawn?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're bored.
Really?
New research suggests that yawning is a reflex to cool our brains. I know what you're thinking. But Chucky, why do I yawn when I'm tired?
That is what I was thinking.
A lack of sleep has been shown to increase the temperature of your brain, which explains why we yawn when we feel tired.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm not bored. My brain is just hot from all this learning.
Fair enough.
Fun Facts with Chuck E. Cheese. Houston to Chucky. Over.
I read you loud and clear, Houston. Oh, hey there. Did you know that in addition to humans, several animals have been to outer space?
Is that a fact?
It sure is. Some of them include dogs, chimpanzees, and even a guinea pig.
You're forgetting a very important one, Chuck.
Oh yeah, mice, like yours truly, are also space travelers.
I was thinking unicorns, but sure. Mice too, yeah.
Houston, I'm coming home now.
Fun Facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
I love pizza.
Well, who doesn't?
Did you know that according to a recent poll, approximately 3 billion pizzas are sold in the United States each year?
I'm probably responsible for about 1 million of those, I think.
And on average, children between the ages of 3 and 11 prefer pizza over all other food for lunch and dinner.
Sometimes I eat cold pizza for breakfast.
That's great. Thanks for sharing.
Fun Facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
The fun fact for today is...
Oh, hey, Chucky.
Yes?
I have a fun fact that I want to share.
Oh, well, okay, go ahead.
This is a good one.
Let's hear it.
I heard from Bobby Bear, who heard from Nigel the Sasquatch, who heard from Jasper, who heard from my cute little Mr. Mittens, who heard from the aliens from the planet Zordox, who heard from Munch that Pasquale's mustache is fake, and sometimes he moves it up to his forehead so he can wear it as a unibrow.
What?
Yep, it's true.
That is not a fun fact.
It's not?
No, that is what you call a rumor. Just because a group of people say something is true doesn't make it true. For example, did you know that back in November of 1868, a man named George Hull had a statue of a 10-foot giant sculpted and buried on his cousin's property in Cardiff, New York? The giant was discovered while digging a water well later the next year. Everyone thought they had actually found the petrified remains of a real giant. Word spread quickly about the Cardiff giant, and people came by the wagon load to see it. People actually believed the rumor that it was a real giant's remains, when actually it was just a hoax all along.
So I guess I could be wrong about Pasquale's mustache. You know, I shouldn't be saying these things if I don't know they're true. I don't want to be spreading rumors.
Yeah, you should never repeat rumors. What rumor are we talking about?
Never mind.
Fun facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
Bees are amazing creatures.
Bees? Oh no! Bees scare me.
Don't worry, Mr. Narrator. They can't sting you. You're just a voice, after all.
Oh, I'm so emotional.
You know, some researchers say that bees might have emotions too. For example, just like you worry about being stung, bees have worries like you and me.
Really? Do they worry about things like not finishing their homework for Miss Duffy's Intro to Creative Writing class?
No. Say, for instance, a bear breaks into a bee's hive. The bees might be worried about it happening again.
Huh. Do bees have any other emotions? Like, do they get really excited when they get to go to Chuck E. Cheese's?
Sure, there are some bees that like excitement and thrills, while others are very timid. Researchers have also noticed that some bees are really good workers, while others can be a bit lazy.
Wow! Great fun fact, Chucky. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta go call my honey. Get it? Call my honey? Because bees make honey, you know?
Yeah, I get it. See you next time!
Fun facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
This chocolate is so yummy.
Chocolate is yummy. This has been another fun fact from Chuck E. Cheese.
No, that's not today's fun fact. Although it's true that people have been enjoying chocolate for at least 2,000 years. Some historians say even longer than that.
Wow. Who were these people from thousands of years ago? The ancient people of Choctopia with their giant chocolate city in the sky?
Chocolate City? What? No. Chocolate actually originated from ancient cultures in South America, like the Mayans, the Olmec, and the Aztecs. They like to brew cocoa beans to make kind of a bitter chocolate drink.
Wow, the very first hot cocoa, huh? Well, did they have ancient marshmallows too?
Well, people were enjoying marshmallows about 2,000 years ago too, all the way over in Egypt. But that is a fun fact for another time.
Marshmallows are Mr. Mitten's favorite.
Good to know.
Fun facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
Did you know that bears can hibernate up to 7 months in the winter?
No, I did not know that. Do they hibernate because it's so cold out?
Well, actually, it's because food is so scarce during the winter months.
Scarce? Well, why don't they just come to Chuck E. Cheese's during the winter? It is open, right?
Well, yeah, but...
Those bears would just love Pasquale's pizza!
Yeah, there might be a safety issue with having wild bears at Chuck E. Cheese's.
Not to mention the salad bar. They would love that salad bar.
Well,
Oh, I just thought of something. Salad bar, salad bear. Get it?
Yeah, that's clever, but animals aren't really allowed in.
But what about you, Jasper and Helen? You're all animals, and you're allowed inside. Well, I'm not sure what munch is.
I see your point, but we can sing.
I see. Fun facts with Chuck E. Cheese. Well, hey there, Chucky. What you doing? Looking for the planet Purple?
No, I'm looking at the moon. Wow, it's a full moon tonight.
Oh no, a full moon? That's when the werewolves come out.
There's no need to fear. Werewolves are a myth.
I'm not so sure about that, but if you say so.
Did you know that the moon is closer to the Earth than anything else in the solar system? But it's still really far away, at an average of 238,855 miles. That's like 30 Earths in a row.
Wow, well that's far. I wonder how far that is in pizza.
It is far, but exactly 12 people have made the trip there and actually walked on the surface. The first being Neil Armstrong in 1969.
Hey, Chuck, is it a myth that only one side of the moon is always facing us?
Nope, that's a fact too. The scientific term is synchronous rotation, which means the moon rotates around its own axis in exactly the same time it takes to orbit the Earth. So the same side is always facing us.
See, Chuck, I told you. Werewolves!
Ow! La 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 la. Oh, sorry guys, I was just warming up my voice for band practice. Ow!
I knew it was Jasper all along. I was just about to say that's probably Jasper. This scared me a bit. I knew it was Jasper.
Sure you did.
Fun facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
Do you like spicy foods?
Well, no, not really. In fact, one time I had some spicy chilies and they turned my mouth into an active volcano filled with lava and fire-breathing dragons on the surface of the sun.
I doubt all that is true, but I agree with you. In fact, most mice, like me, do not like spicy foods either.
Well, tell us about it.
There were these scientists out in Arizona that were studying dieting habits of certain wild animals. In one particular study, they focused on an area where some wild chili plants were growing.
Wild chilies? Well, they sound ferocious. Is there such a thing as a wild chili tamer?
No, that means they live out in the desert without any help from human farmers.
Oh, okay.
The scientists watched as my desert mice cousins avoided eating the spicy chilies.
Run, little desert mice! Run from the wild chilies of Arizona! Ah!
But then, the scientists noticed that the birds seemed to like eating the chilies.
So the birds liked eating them, and the mice did not. But why?
This is when the scientists figured out that birds could not taste how hot and spicy chilies were. You see, there's this substance in chilies called capsaicin. Capsaicin is what interacts with the skin to give it that hot or burning sensation. Birds are not affected by it, but mammals like you and me are.
Wait a second. These are just plants we're talking about. How could they possibly know to be spicy for mice and people, and not spicy for birds?
The researchers suggest that chili plants have evolved to produce capsaicin as a repellent for mammals, which will ensure their future survival. Birds travel further than mice, so it's likely they will spread the chili seeds to grow future chili plants in more places.
Huh. I guess chilies like to travel.
I guess so.
So spicy foods are for the birds. Get it? For the birds, right?
I get it.
Fun facts with Chuck E. Cheese. Well, hey, Chucky, what you doing?
Oh, hey! I'm playing hide and seek with Helen and Jasper. Want to join us?
Yeah, thanks. I'm afraid I'm a little too old to play.
No, wait! You're never too old for play. And I'm not just talking about hide and seek, all kinds of play. Play is very important for people of all ages.
Really?
Absolutely! Extensive studies show that play boosts creativity, elevates mood and energy, and helps with learning and stress management.
Well, I had no idea. I thought play was just kids being silly.
Research suggests that play can increase productivity at school or at work. It can change the brain and allow people to learn without being directly taught. Play allows greater understanding and insight and helps develop social skills and relationships.
Well, I'll be a Munch's uncle.
Play isn't just beneficial for people. Many other animal species play as well. Did you know grizzly bears like to perform water dances and foxes enjoy tickling each other?
Oh, that's so cute. You know, my cat, Mr. Mittens, he sure does love to chase his ball of yarn around the house.
Exactly. Cats, dogs, and many other mammals love to play.
Well, hey, Chuck, you're a mouse. How do mice like to play?
Thanks for asking. Mice, such as myself, love to leap, jump, twist, and shake.
And that's why you're such a good dancer.
Thanks. Maybe so.
Found you.
Oh, man. I totally forgot I was playing hide and seek.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious. You were talking really loudly.
Sorry, Chucky. At least we learned that play is for everyone and not just children. I got an idea. Let's play again. Okay, you guys go hide. I'll count. 1, 2. Fun facts with Chuck E. Cheese.
Do you ever have chores?
No, I hate doing chores. But if I do all my chores, then sometimes I get rewarded with a trip to Chuck E. Cheese's, so, you know.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I guess it's a fair trade-off.
When I was younger, one of the chores I was assigned at St. Mary's was to vacuum.
Oh, Mr. Mittens is super scared of the vacuum cleaner. He wishes that they had never been invented.
Well, Mr. Mittens can thank a janitor named James Murray Spangler for that. He invented the first portable electric vacuum.
Okay, hang on. I'm sending Mr. Mittens a text right now. This James Murray Spangler guy has a lot of explaining to do.
Well, I'm afraid your text is a little too late. The electric vacuum cleaner was invented in 1908. You see, James would cough every time he tried to sweep up the carpets in the department store where he worked. So he tinkered with an old fan motor, attached it to a soapbox, stapled it to a broom handle, then attached it to a pillowcase to collect the dust. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. I mean, he just took a bunch of stuff he had laying around and put it together to make an electric vacuum.
Well, Mr. Mittens does that too. I mean, that's kind of how he built his time machine.
What?
Well, yeah. I mean, he used his litter box, a laser pointer, a couple of refrigerator magnets, and...
Wait, are you telling me your cat built a time machine out of a litter box?
Well, yeah, but it's one of those new fancy self-cleaning ones, so it has like a computer built right in.
Mr. Mittens isn't going to use his time machine to...
Uh-oh. It looks like he just created an alternate timeline where vacuums do not exist.
He what?
Don't worry, Chuck. I'll handle this. Mr. Mittens, no. No. No, Mr. Mittens. We do not create alternate timelines.
What just happened?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but we better never tell him what year bathtubs were invented. Mr. Mittens just hates baths.
Oh, brother.
Fun facts with Chuck E. Cheese. Hello? Uh-oh. Oh, man. Oh, man. Where's Chucky?
Boo!
Ah!
Gotcha!
Jumpin' Jasper, Chucky! You startled me!
I'm sorry. I'm just getting into the spooky spirit of Halloween.
Oh, I see. Well, I have to say, I do prefer treats over tricks.
Me too.
Where do we get these strange traditions, anyhow?
Great question. It's believed that Halloween traces its roots back over 2,000 years to an Irish festival which marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. In fact, the traditional Halloween colors, orange and black, represent these two things.
Oh, wow. But were kids trick-or-treating 2,000 years ago? Did they even have candy back then?
Well, not exactly. But Halloween customs such as trick-or-treating, dressing up in costumes, and even bobbing for apples did get their start back then in one form or another.
Even jack-o'-lanterns?
Sure, except originally they carved lanterns from turnips. But when the tradition came to America many years later, pumpkins were much more plentiful than turnips.
Turnips? Did they also eat turnip pie at Thanksgiving?
I don't really know.
I cannot believe Halloween is so old. And now everyone in the world is celebrating it.
Actually, Halloween as we know it is mostly celebrated in the USA and a few other Western countries. But it is gaining popularity all over the world. And other countries have similar holidays. For instance, in July, China celebrates the Hungry Ghost Festival.
Hungry ghosts? What are ghosts hungry for? Pizza?
Maybe so. Maybe so.
All this talk of pizza and pumpkins is making me hungry. Sure wish I had some Halloween candy corn pizza right about now.
Well, you're not alone there. Did you know Americans spend over $2 billion on Halloween candy every year? About 9 billion pieces of candy corn are produced each year. That's enough candy corn to wrap around the moon over 20 times.
Wow! Well, how big is the moon?
I'll have to get back to you on that. But it's no wonder that Halloween is the second biggest commercial holiday after Christmas.
That reminds me, Chucky, I gotta go. I gotta go get my Christmas tree.
I think it's just a little early for that, my friend.
Too early for a 9-foot Douglas fir in the corner of your living room? Good one, Chuck. Mr. Mittens just can't wait. Fun Facts with Chuck E. Cheese. Hey there, Chucky. What you doing?
Oh, hey, just putting the finishing touches on my Christmas tree.
Oh man, I need to get on that. I'm so behind. I finally just threw out my 17 jack-o'-lanterns from Halloween yesterday.
17, huh? Wow.
Do you think Santa will be upset that I haven't put up my tree yet?
Not at all. He's a jolly old guy. And besides, he brings gifts to boys and girls all over the world, and not everyone celebrates with Christmas trees.
They don't?
People around the world have many different ways of celebrating this time of year. They even have different names for Santa Claus.
What do you mean other names, like Larry or Bartholomew? Sigourney?
Not sure about those. In the US, we've heard some of Santa's other names. Kris Kringle, Saint Nick, but, for instance, in Hawaii, they also call him Kanakaloka.
Oh, wow! Well, I wish I had a cool name like that.
He's got a bunch of cool names. In China, he's known as Sheng Dan Lao Ren, and in Hungary, it's Mikolash. The French call him Père Noël.
Oh yeah, like the song, The First Noel.
Right, and in Turkey, he's called Noel Baba, and the Dutch refer to him as Sinterklaas.
Sinterklaas? That sounds a lot like Santa Claus.
It's probably not a coincidence. In Japan, he's called Hoteosho, and they say he has eyes in the back of his head to see if children are being naughty or nice.
Yikes!
Don't worry, I'm sure you're on the nice list.
In Italy, we call him a Babbo Natale.
On Planet Purple, we call him Zorba.
You get the idea. People all over the world celebrate the holidays in diverse and wonderful ways. And learning about other cultures only enriches our own experience of the holiday.
I'll get right on that, Chucky, but first I gotta go buy that Christmas tree.
Or you could just get yourself a Christmas meteor like we have on Planet Purple.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for both.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.